We all feel them. The forbidden, the sinful, the taboo. Behaviors that divide cultures and inspire fear. But our differences may be what make us all human. Delicacies. According to the dictionary, things pleasing to eat that are considered rare or luxurious. But pleasing to whom? When it comes to food, it's all a matter of taste. One man's meat is another man's poison, and one person's delicacy can be another's taboo.
We need to define ourselves, and one of the ways we define ourselves is by what we eat and how we're different from the people around us, because, you know, those neighbors over there don't eat that, and we do.
Now, travel to India, where one family's favorite recipe features an animal fetus. Beat the bush in Togo, as villagers hunt for an animal most city dwellers would rather not see, much less eat. Come to Taiwan and sample a special stew that gives Viagra a stiff run for its money. And wonder, how far would you go to please your palate? Iceland, a place rooted in Viking tradition. But its capital, Reykjavik, is as cosmopolitan as any modern city. Cafes, great restaurants, and some of the finest, freshest food in the world. But once a year, in February, the people of Iceland turn back the clock to an age-old tradition called Thorrablot, a festival of feasts. The dishes might disgust an outsider. Ram's testicles, sheep heads, and rotting shark. But to the people of Iceland, these are delicacies, only served during this month-long festival.
Any kind of festival, food or otherwise, involves some kind of restatement of who you are, what's important to you.
Paul Rosin is professor of psychology at the University of Pennsylvania.
Food has a particular importance here because it's ingested and it's taken in the body. It produces a certain intimate sense of link. Eating is a very deep way of reaffirming roots.
But even Icelanders are sharply divided on whether this food is tasty or taboo.
I prefer testicles to pizzas because it's our national heritage.
I don't eat testicles.
It's delicious. It's gross.
Maybe because it's testicles.
But the shark is extremely good.
It's delicious.
I feel really Icelandic when I do it.
The sheep heads, the eyes, oh, the eyes are wonderful.
And the tongue is very good.
The first time you taste it, either you vomit or you love it.
Siggy Hall, owner and head chef of one of Iceland's top restaurants, serves some of the world's best nouvelle cuisine, a far cry from rotten shark.
This is like a modern Iceland, eh? Modern Icelandic cuisine.
But Siggy wouldn't dare serve his guests the foods of the Thorrablot festival.
They will probably throw it in my face.
His guests agree.
Some of it tastes like last year's leftover. Smell will tell you it's dead. It's dead.
So why would anyone eat these delicacies? For Siggy and many Icelanders, eating unorthodox dishes is a way to preserve their Viking heritage.
We in Iceland, I guess we are the only Scandinavian nation who are still taking care of this tradition.
Carolyn Marvin is professor of anthropology at the University of Pennsylvania.
To read about our ancestors in a book is a nice thing to do. But it's not quite as powerful and it's not quite as interesting as to reenact what we think those ancestors did, to put ourselves bodily in the place of those ancestors.
Today, Siggy will travel to the small fishing town of Stykkishólmur to help prepare a giant feast and keep old traditions alive. For Siggy, reminders of Viking beliefs and superstitions are everywhere.
And in these mountains, there are trolls and ghosts. We really believe it.
Trolls and ghosts weren't the Vikings' only worry. Winters were brutal and long. Salt was scarce. So to survive, Vikings preserved food with sour milk, and by burying it, hoping it would last until spring. Nothing went to waste, not even the most toxic, pungent foods. Siggy arrives just outside town, where a traditional Icelandic Thorracook is preparing one of the signature meals of Thorrablot.
Feel the pungent aroma of the shark.
This freshly caught 1,700-pound Greenland shark is naturally full of urea and other toxins. These chemicals act as antifreeze, allowing the shark to live in waters as cold as -2 degrees Celsius. The toxins are so concentrated that to eat this meat could make you seriously ill, or possibly even kill you. But Hildibrandr Bjarmus's family has a secret shark recipe that goes back generations. And he knows that the only way to prepare it is to let it rot.
Oof. Oh la la.
This shark meat has been rotting for 2 months, and the smell proves it.
Smells very strongly pungent.
As the meat decomposes, it oozes toxic ammonia, the chemical found in most household cleaning products and human waste.
I don't want to say the word. This will probably describe it best. Pee.
In Viking times, shark meat was buried out of sight. But Hildebrandr prefers to see his delicacy. That way he can keep track of the decaying process.
His nose decides when it is ready to try. It's like winemaking, you know? He's an expert. He feels it. Now we take it out for trying.
When the meat is at a perfect rotten state, it's hung to complete the breakdown process. After 6 months, it's ready to be served.
Yeah, this is gonna be very good. It has 2 more months. It's gonna be a great shot, this one. You know, you have to taste always of your produce all the way to follow the quality from the beginning to the end.
Coming up, from shark to sheep's head, a town holds a rotten feast.
Some guys, you know, really like to eat the eyeballs.
And later, would your cup of tea be barbecued rat?
I like it more than chicken.
Rotten shark is on the menu in Stykkishólmur, where the entire town shows up in their modern finery to feast on ancient, rotting dishes. They have asked Siggy to help with one of the more delicate preparations, a pate of testicles.
Well, they asked me to cut the balls. This pate here is about 10 young rams. Former rams. Those are the testicles.
Each food is preserved just as it was in Viking times, in a way of sour milk from preparing cheese.
This is a long way from the fresh gourmet food we have.
A very long way.
This is a heck of a sheep. Very good.
Every part of the skull will be eaten.
Here we have some tongue.
I like the tongue. Tongue is the best thing. Some guys, you know, really like to eat the eyeballs. It looks gross, but it's a party, it's a fiesta, it's a game. And people are having great fun with it.
The festival is a way of creating community.
Nan Rothschild is professor of anthropology at Barnet College.
By eating these difficult foods, you're proving that you are a member of the community, that this is important, that you're willing to do these hard things in order to demonstrate your connection, both to the past and to the present.
We actually only do this once a year, and families come together and eat damaged food.
It's a social thing for us to come together and eat this.
I don't like this shark.
It's like ammonia.
Taste and smell like piss. It does.
We are a proud nation. We are proud of our tradition. And this is one of the ways not to forget how it was.
I think you have to be productive to like it.
Despite this feast of oddities, these Icelandic partygoers see nothing bizarre about tonight's main courses.
You can find peculiar food in every nation and every culture. I mean, it's in Iceland, it's rotten shark, it's seabed.
No matter what dish is served, Siggy and the Icelanders agree there is more to this tradition than just taste.
The point is taking care of this tradition, having fun with it, know what it is, don't forget it, don't forget where we come from.
If eating taboo delicacies can be a mark of who you are, not eating them can be a mark of who you're not.
Food can become a readily available symbol.
Carol Cunahan is professor of anthropology at Millersville University.
It's very common for one group to distinguish itself from a neighboring group by what they eat. They're cannibals. That's a very common accusation. Or they eat frogs and mice. We, don't. The English call the French frogs in a sort of accusatory tone. They eat those disgusting frogs. We don't.
But disgust, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. For example, how would you feel about eating the fetus of an animal? Sunday morning in southern India. It's a day for cooking, feeding, and feasting.
Do you have coriander leaves?
Mrs. Pauline Naga is planning an elaborate Sunday lunch.
Give me 1 kilo of tomatoes and cauliflower, please.
She's invited 8 of her dearest friends to an extra special treat, a local delicacy called cootie pie. So tasty, it's not just liked, it's loved.
Cootie pie beats everything. Cootie pie is one of the best dishes in the world.
So gruesome, it can turn your stomach.
I've never eaten it, and frankly, I don't want to.
So taboo, you may never get to taste it.
My wife will not cook. She's a little sentimental.
So what is it that people have a problem with? Cootie pie is the fetus of any animal. In this case, a goat. We eat eggs or veal. Why should a fetus be taboo?
It's taboo to eat a goat fetus or other unborn animal because I think it violates our sense of order and propriety. The unborn is an unfinished product. It's still internal to the animal. An egg, at least an egg is out of the body.
Most Indians wouldn't dream of eating a cootie pie.
Do you have cucumber?
But Mrs. Nagar is hoping her guests will keep an open mind.
It's good if they taste it once. You've got to eat it to know how tasty it is.
Mrs. Nagar belongs to a community that has been cooking cootie pie for generations. They are called the Anglo-Indians.
The word Anglo-Indian is the person born to a foreigner, like an Englishman, and an Indian. The Dutch came to India, the Portuguese came to India, the Britishers came to India, and of course they saw these gorgeous Indian women. And there we are. That was the genesis of the Anglo-Indian community.
But the Anglo-Indians were accepted by neither East nor West, so they concocted their own vibrant culture, and a cuisine that was free from traditions and taboos.
We eat what we like, whether it's considered dirty or not. The Jews won't eat certain things, the Muslims won't eat certain things, the Hindus won't, but we are eclectic. We eat the blessed lot. Hybrid cultures define themselves by difference from other cultures, and so if you have a society that is the result of a colonial impact or some kind of contact situation, then they're going to choose means to differentiate themselves from these other people. So it doesn't surprise me that they have foods that they eat that, either of the sort of, quote, parent cultures don't eat.
The Anglo-Indians sampled different parts of an animal without reservation, including cootie pie. But the dish is prized for more than its taste. According to local legend, cootie pie has medicinal properties.
It's very good for health. good for back complaints, good for pregnant women, good for people with tuberculosis. So it's a real, very helpful thing.
But first, you have to find it. Mrs. Naga is on her way to buy her cootie pie. It's sold at the local slaughterhouse. Cootie pies are never made to order. They're available only if a pregnant animal happens to be killed that day. Buying a cootie pie comes down to timing and luck.
Cootie pie is in great demand. If you're a little late, you don't get cootie pie.
So the best way to bag a cootie pie is to get there early. The slaughterhouse is no neighborhood butcher shop. Here, every part of the animal is sold as valuable food, even the leftovers.
This is considered a spare part market. The main office is sent to the mutton shops, but the spare parts are sold here. There's no wastage whatsoever.
The place is already bustling, and Mrs. Naga is getting concerned.
The cootie pie is sold out so fast, so one has to be quick to come and collect it.
Hey, madam, 2 minutes.
She tries her luck again. Mrs. Naga is getting worried about her luncheon.
They say the customers have come in earlier than me, and they bought up all the cootie pie.
She makes one last desperate try, and learns that the butchers are holding out on her.
They have it and they say no. He says that it's not being filmed, not allowed filming, so you cannot be sold to us.
Although selling and buying cootie pie is not illegal, the butchers don't want to be seen violating a taboo.
It is the pieces, and so they don't like to show that it's being sold.
The message is clear. Mrs. Naga won't get her cootie pie as long as she's on camera.
You go home.
So she negotiates an alternate deal.
They said to me, you go home, and we'll deliver the cookie pie in the house. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
The shopping fiasco has delayed Mrs. Naga. It's crunch time. And she summoned her friends to help with the lunch.
Make it a confusion.
Things are going well. Even the butchers have kept their word. The main dish is finally here.
This is a very tiny cookie pie. We like to take it when it's a medium size, so that there's sufficient flesh to eat. At the same time, you don't have the hair on it.
Is eating an animal fetus really a question of mind or of matter?
In the beginning, some people, they may not want to eat cookie pie because, it goes into their mind it's a baby goat. But if you don't tell them, you cut it up into small pieces, you camouflage the whole thing. We eat it. We probably eat it. One of the long-term trends in industrialized nations is to remove the visible evidence of violence from our society. That's why we don't eat our animals whole on the table. Why, when we cook them, we disguise them so that they may not even look at all like the animal that they came from. The cheers!
But in this party, Mrs. Naga's friends are well aware of what's on the table.
This is the cookie pie.
And they're piling their plates carefully.
What is this, mutton?
Yes. This is beef. Please don't take this. That's what she told me. It's supposed to be good for bag and pregnant women. So I said I'm not pregnant, but I can use it for my bag.
The guests get their first taste of cootie pie. And they've reached a verdict.
Nice. Very tender. It's excellent,
Like a liver type of texture. Yes.
Very creamy, I think. I really like it.
But not everybody has taken to the dish.
Just mind over matter. I can't bring myself to have this dish. I'm very shocked. This particular dish really turns me off.
Mrs. Naga is not surprised by the mixed reaction.
Our parents and our grandparents used to enjoy eating a lot of cookie pie. And I find that as the generations go by, it's becoming less popular.
Mrs. Naga knows this may be a dying tradition. But for now, she's going to celebrate it for as long as she can.
I have no nostalgia of losing the tradition because I feel life it is more important than traditions. Until they stop having kuti pie in the markets, I am going to enjoy preparing it and calling my friends. For me, the important thing in life is the freedom to enjoy everything.
When it comes to delicacies, it's all relative. What's rare and luxurious to some may be common or taboo to others. And the delicacy of one person's dreams may be the stuff of your nightmares. Coming up, find out the best way to cook and serve rat.
Is it salty enough? Yes, it's good.
Then, learn what the Chinese eat in place of Viagra.
This part is the best.
In this village in the West African country of Togo, most people eat what they grow. Wild animals are sparse on this mountainous plateau, so even little animals are big game. Antelope may not be appetizing to many of us, but it's mild compared to the delicacy Silvanus is preparing to hunt, guaranteed to turn the stomach of any urban dweller. Rats, filthy vermin that feed on garbage.
Now, anything that eats garbage is already in trouble, because if it eats garbage, by the you are what you eat principle, it is garbage, and then if we eat it, we're garbage.
They're the scourge of the city. Just ask any New Yorker.
Rats are sickly little vermin.
They're disease carriers and
They're dirty, I'm afraid of them. They crawl around the subways, they eat garbage.
they're nasty.
I will not eat a rat. I think it's gross. Nah, I don't even really like to eat chicken, so a rat would be really stretching it.
I prefer not to eat rat.
Oh, definitely no rats. No rats.
Unless, of course, the New Yorker is from West Africa.
Rats, if I'm looking at Africa, rats is a delicacy. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Because in West Africa, rat is a delectable, desirable treat that people prefer to more common alternatives.
For me, the meat of the rat is more delicious than the meat of the chicken.
Their rats are more like squirrels or something. They're not in an environment that is sort of filled with human filth.
Rat is such a popular dish in West Africa. It's sold in city markets. But in the little village of Kateme, the only way to get this delicacy is to catch it yourself. And these men are willing to do whatever it takes.
If anybody is going to be lazy today, he should leave the group now and go home.
Silvanus isn't joking. Before they're through, the hunters will likely hike for miles and dig hours in the hot African sun. All to bag one little rat. Someone else will wait anxiously for their return. Daniel has twisted his ankle, and he needs a rat's tail for a special cure. For this is the land where voodoo was born, and still flourishes. A lot is riding on the hunter's quest. The elders perform a blessing.
Here are ancestors. Take the drink. Take it and help them get the animal they are looking for.
In the forests of Togo, rats keep to themselves. The best place to look for them isn't easy to find. The men walk more than a mile before they see it. An abandoned termite tower. Silvanus is confident they'll find a rat at home. Rats burrow deep inside these towers to sleep during the day, and only venture out to forage for food at night. But despite its promise, this tower yields no rats. The men move on. Miles later, the hunters almost miss a termite tower that's overgrown with brush. But the hole looks very fresh. They decide on a plan. to lay siege to the rat's stronghold. Their dinner depends on cutting him off at every turn.
I'm plugging the exits of the rat so that he can't escape. Once we do that, then we can start digging.
It's a lot of effort for a little rodent most of us wouldn't want to meet, let alone eat.
Delicacy is very often related to difficulty in access. How hard it is to get, how much work you have to go to get it, how much it costs. Like truffles, you've got to have your trained pigs and go out, and they're hard to find.
So is the rat. But Sylvanus and his friends are getting closer.
Here is the bed of the rat. Here is the fruit he has eaten today. Now we have found the door, and we are sure that he is inside.
It turns out that getting to the rat isn't so easy. More than an hour goes by before Sylvanus can hear the rat stirring. It's not only a rat, it's a giant African pouched rat, which can weigh more than 6 pounds. To us, it's a pest. But to Sylvanus and his friends, it's a delectable morsel. Thinking of Daniel and his ankle, the men move quickly to sever the tail. The rat loses its power soon after death.
There is a light at the end of the tail that the rat uses to see in the night. This part of the tail has a power. The power is in the string.
Taboo or not, the hunters can already taste their feast. But first, back at the village, it's time to let the string work its magic. As an elder looks on, Sylvanus performs a ritual he learned from his grandfather.
With this, I'm going to treat the pain in your ankle. It will stay around your foot for 7 days. On the 7th day, it will fall off, and the pain will disappear.
While Daniel goes home to heal, Sylvanus has more urgent matters on his mind. Ave tradition holds that those who hunt get first claim to their quarry, a fortunate custom when pickings are small. The cooks treat this furry rodent like tenderloin.
Bring peppers, ginger, spices, and tomatoes. Once we grind the ingredients, we'll be ready.
But Sylvanus realizes that something is missing.
The ginger we found for the sauce is good, but we need to accompany it with sodabi.
Sodabi is a homemade liquor distilled from palm sap. For the first time today, money changes hands. Now the meal is complete. Sylvanus offers a toast. It's not taboo to spit at this dinner party either, but a way to make offering and thank the gods for providing this delicacy. They savor every last morsel, except the intestines, even the bones.
We eat the bones because inside there are vitamins. We suck those vitamins, and it helps us keep our joints and bones healthy.
But eating rat is about more than nutrition for Sylvanus friends. It's also about community.
We all go together to look for the rat. We bring it back, and we cook it together. So eating the meat of the rat is a real pleasure for us.
Throughout the world, certain foods are prized not for their taste, but for the effect they're thought to have on the human body, even if the food would otherwise be taboo.
In many cultures, people do eat foods to gain healthful effect from them. A food that otherwise might seem outlandish, you might eat because the desired effect from eating it overcomes any hesitation or, distrust of this particular food.
In parts of Asia, an animal organ most wouldn't even touch is considered a rare delicacy for the powers it promotes in the people who eat it. What would you be willing to eat to improve your sex life? In the markets of Taiwan's capital city, Taipei, you can find seemingly every creature. And it's not just choice meat that's for sale, but nearly every other animal part as well. The Chinese sometimes complain their countrymen will eat anything. Very little is taboo. And if there's one Taiwanese gourmet who can turn the most exotic fare into a delicacy fit for an emperor, it is Chef Ping Shing Cho.
So feisty. The redder the crown, the more fully developed the rooster.
World-renowned for his cuisine, Mr. Cho may be Taiwan's most highly respected chef. And tonight, he will host a very unusual dinner for some very special guests, including several of Taiwan's top food critics. The dish he's chosen to prepare is so taboo, it may be one of the few things many Chinese refuse to eat. The penis of the bull.
So this was freshly killed today?
Yes, it was killed this morning.
A mature bull's sex organ can be longer than 3 feet, even when it's not erect.
The end is the most potent, because all the blood supposedly rushes there. So this part is the best.
Still, just the thought of eating one is enough to make most people blush.
Eating a penis is about as loaded an activity as you can imagine. First of all, a penis is not like a piece of muscle. It's an identifiable part of an animal. It's a part of the body down there, which we tend to think of as pretty disgusting. And of course, it has sexual connotations.
And those aren't the only reasons this entree can be so unappetizing. If not prepared well, the meat is sinewy and tough. And inside is the bull's urinary tract.
You have to cut it open and wash it clean. If you don't, then you'll have the taste of urine in your food.
Could this really be a meal prized for centuries by Chinese emperors? In Taiwan, where most beef is imported, the dish is so rare, even Chef Cho has hardly ever prepared it. Traditionally, it was considered a potent aphrodisiac, the Chinese version of Viagra. But only aristocrats, those with time and money to spend on improving their sex lives, had the chance to savor it. Today, many Chinese still believe eating an animal's penis before sex will bolster a man's performance.
One of the oldest forms of logic is if something looks like something else, it must be connected to it. So it makes perfect sense from that point of view that eating the bull penis would do something for us. By taking it into our own body, we succeed in being as sexually powerful as that bull is in our imagination.
For help with his recipe, Chef Cho is turning to his friend, Dr. Zhen Yu Li, a specialist in Chinese medicine. Dr. Li knows exactly what combination of herbs to prescribe to complement the meat.
Is bull penis more effective than Viagra?
Oh, yes. As soon as it hits the tongue, the bull penis jumpstarts the brain and enhances the sexual desire. I guarantee we're going to make them very happy.
How happy will the dinner guests be? Coming up, Taiwan's leading food critics put this rare delicacy to the taste test. This is not a feast just anyone can prepare. In addition to the main course, Chef Cho is preparing 3 other dishes, each from one of his own unique recipes. He leaves the herbs to steep in one pot, while he stews the meat in another. It will take 4 hours to cook. For the women, he's preparing another traditional dish that may seem just as taboo: rooster testicles. The Chinese believe they help women stay young.
Women should eat this. This will increase the red blood cell count. It will also beautify your skin.
For the Chinese, a chef is like a doctor. And every meal is considered preventative medicine. It's a philosophy that began centuries ago on the Chinese mainland and still thrives in its markets, like this one in Chongqing in south-central China.
Some of these ingredients you can also find in a Chinese pharmacy. It's to eat as food, but it's also a Chinese medicine.
Here, nearly every item is believed to have a specific effect on the body.
The Chinese believe that what you eat is what you treat. So if you eat a pig's brain, then you will treat a human's brain.
Likewise, eating a bull's penis is thought to increase blood flow to the genitals and boost a man's stamina for sex.
People don't eat these things every day. You just couldn't take it.
It is not surprising that some cultures would see a bull's sex organ as a taboo food.
Very often, beliefs about food and beliefs about sex overlap. And so our taboos or our hang-ups about sex can certainly carry over into our taboos about food. So that in U.S. culture, the Puritan heritage, which causes sex to be pushed aside into a very private space, would make eating something like a penis in public problematic.
In his kitchen in Taiwan, Chef Cho is finishing 4 hours of work, and he's ready to welcome his guests. Among them are the leaders of Taiwan's premier culinary associations, men and women who can make or break a chef's reputation. Even for these experts, this meal will be a rare treat. Most of them have never eaten bull penis before.
So will we have an immediate reaction after eating this?
We have beautiful women next to us. Do you think we won't have a reaction?
Still, no one wants to be the first to dig in. Even in Taiwan, there are food taboos that can make connoisseurs hesitate.
It's a little scary.
But soon, the verdict is in.
It's just like eating a piece of beef with tendons. That is why Chef Cho is so great. He was able to serve bull penises in such a way that you can't tell which part of the penis you're eating.
It's high praise.
When I tasted this soup, I finally realized what the emperors got to enjoy.
Even Chef Cho is pleased.
This will bring happiness to the family. Everyone will have good virility.
With his power to transform the taboo into the tantalizing, Chef Cho may win new converts to this ancient delicacy. Diners who may seek it out not just for its romantic and medicinal effects, but also for its taste. Why not take sustenance from genitals, or goat fetus, or rat? Once the food hits your stomach, it's all just protein. But taboos are about mind over matter. There's more to our food choices than just survival. They tell us who we are.
Food taboos are not really just about the food. They're about all kinds of other things in the culture that are important to us. That might be our social relations, our sense of what's safe in that world, where we can go, where we can't go, who can talk to whom. All of those things are related to food taboos.
And in the end, our views of what those other people eat say less about them and a great deal about us.
I think food is an excellent lens or window into culture because so many of our beliefs and habits can also be expressed around food and eating. Food can become a readily available symbol because not only is it visible, but because it becomes part of us.
Delicacy or taboo? What food do you want to become part of you?